Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Wes. I am Midgard Axe, and today I'm bringing you the Council Tool Boys Axe. Still got the plastic on it, guys, brand new, ready to go. All of my free giveaways, about 98% of them are brand new. If I ever bring you something used, it's usually something that I've already had that I want to give away, or someone out there on YouTube or somewhere out there on TikTok has given me an axe and wants me to do a review and do a giveaway on it. So, but I'll let you guys know ahead of time if it's brand new, if it's used, and we got a brand new one. Alright, so Council Tool is located in Waccamaw, North Carolina, which isn't far from me, guys. I'm right here on the Carolina-Virginia border. Not far at all. Hop, skip, and a jump away, okay? If you go into their website and you go down to the section of the About Us, it'll tell you that Council Tool was formed in 1886 by a gentleman by the name of John Pickett Council. Pretty cool, guys. If you go on there and you look at all the information, it'll show you that there's still a bunch of councils still running Council Tool. So a lot of his relatives are still there at the company. Now there is a little subsection on there about Council Tool, but if you go down to the bottom of that paragraph, it'll say to read more about the company. Click here. That'll bring you a 6-page report on Council Tool and who they are as a company. I'm not going to go over everything, but I will go over key points that I think are interesting. It talks about here on the website about how in the 30s the Forestry Service contacted Council Tool because they needed their help. And Council Tool in turn turned around and developed the fire rake, known throughout the industry as the council rake. The product is offered today and is in their line currently, okay? And they boast a lot about how they're proud to supply tools to the U.S. Forestry Service and firefighters around the world. They also talk about how today Council Tool offers the country's premier line of heavy-duty American-made axes, okay? They also say on here that Council Tool's dedication to premium, precision, and professional-grade tools for people to use, work with, and enjoy is their main mission statement, what they go by. And if you want a good axe or a good tool to use, they're the company to go to. They do have a very good photo gallery on there, and they talk about how they've been a family since 1886. Council Tool is still a family-owned and family-managed business led by the 4th and 5th generation of the Council family. The company's majority stockholders are in the office and on the plant floor every day. The employees of Council Tool are hard-working Americans who take pride in our company and the quality for which it stands. Council Tool employees cumulatively have over 600 years of tool-making expertise. Pretty cool, guys, pretty cool. When you go onto their website and you click on the link to go to the 6-page report on their history, it's a lot of information. I actually read it. If you haven't read it, I'd tell you to go read it. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm not going to go over everything about that. It's 6 pages, but I will give you some key things that I thought were cool just because I'm prior military. I didn't know that Council Tool did a lot of stuff for the military back during World War II. And they talk about in here that how during that time they were asked to make small spanner wrenches, and how the government wanted them to work around the clock on dies in production. They also says in here too that they worked on a particular part that was used to set the explosive time on artillery shells. It was employed in the Anzio Beach invasion of Italy. It's pretty cool. It also says too that Council Tool also made forgings for the Wilmington shipyard. Now guys, Wilmington's in North Carolina if you don't know. That's where Wilmington's at. Funny thing, guys, because I worked for the government and the military for a while, I know how this works. And it says in here too, I thought this was funny. It says after we billed the government for the work on the spanner wrenches, they questioned the use of our overtime. That sounds about right. Here, hurry up, get this done. We want it in the shortest amount of time possible. And then when you get it done and you get the bill, they're like, well, why were you working all this overtime? That sounds about right. They do take a lot of pride in the fact that all of their axes are made, developed, everything is done in the United States of America. They even source the materials that they use to make the axes in America. If you go on there, it says made in the USA, and they're very proud about that. When you purchase our product, you're getting the highest quality hand tools available. Additionally, you're supporting the USA economy. We are proud to contribute to our local, state, and USA economy and to provide secure jobs to our hard-working team members. All components and raw materials are grown or manufactured in the USA from our Appalachian Appalachian. I think it's Appalachian. Sorry, I should know this. I live here. Our Appalachian, I can't say that word, Appalachian hickory handles. Our steel and fiberglass handles are all produced here in the United States, which is pretty cool, guys. So basically, they get everything from here. They don't go overseas for really anything. At least on their website, that's what it says. They don't go overseas for nothing. Everything that is made is either produced here or sourced in the United States of America, which is kind of cool. So if you buy a Council Tool Axe, you know that you're buying USA made, and you're supplying people with jobs when you buy a Council Tool Axe. Pretty cool, guys, pretty cool. So if you go onto the website, you'll see all the products that they offer. They offer firefighting products, gardening, landscaping, land maintenance, other tools, handles and accessories, industrial, construction, axes. They also boast on their website too that it's an estimate that they've made and sent out over 10 million axes and over 8 million hammers, which is really cool, guys. Can you imagine being a company and sending out over 10 million axes? What a feat. What a great feat that is for them. And because this is an axe channel, we're going to focus mainly on the axes, okay? If you go onto the website, they have a ton of axes to choose from. Anything from split mauls, forcible entry axes, carving axes and hatchets, felling and bucking axes, camp, pack, bushcraft axes and hatchets, premium axes, logging, mining, and tree service axes, throwing axes and hatchets, sport utility axes, and so on. They make a lot of axes. Now, prior to starting YouTube, I had experience with Council Tool, but since I've started the channel, I've got a little bit more to show you guys with the double bit saddle axe and the camp axe and the camp carver. All have been great. I haven't had any issues with those, and to be honest with you, I haven't had really any issues with any of the axes that I used to get before I started a YouTube channel. They're very consistent with what they put out, at least in my experience, in my opinion. Do they make duds? I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's people out there that have complaining that the bit wasn't done correctly or the head was hafted on incorrectly. But I will say that all the companies that I've dealt with, Council Tool can be one of the most consistent when it comes to producing a decent axe and giving you decent quality as well. Now, I know some people have had some concern with Council Tool in the past with, I believe, their tempering and their hardening processes. They may have, but I have yet to experience that. But you guys know I'm a no BS guy, and if I come across that, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so with all that said, let's get into the actual axe, okay? Let me take the plastic off here. Left the plastic on so you guys could see that it was still in plastic when I got it. I haven't checked anything on it yet, so we're going to do it right here on camera. And they really take this thing up good, don't they? Plastic's off, so let's get into the axe. If you go onto their website, it says that this is a Dayton axe head outfitted with a 28-inch curved hickory handle weighing in at a little over 2 pounds. It's popularly referred to as a boy's axe, a mid-sized tool, and the Dayton pattern originated from Dayton, Ohio area. In September of 2023, our iconic boy's axe undergoes an upgrade. So they're saying that they went into an upgrade with the 2023 model. The overall side profile closely resembles more vintage and historic versions of the Dayton pattern axe head, okay? And what they're saying on here is that they move the eye forward towards the bit. It extends the back of the axe / pole and gives it better balance from front to back. It also says that the balance improves accuracy and efficiency while making it safer to use. It says the forward eye also creates a slightly thicker upper cheek in the front of the eye to help with medium / light splitting. Okay, so getting into the actual specs of the axe and what they say online. They say that this axe comes with a forged tool steel head that's made in the USA, and that it is hand sharpened and the bit is tapered for cutting and light splitting. It also says on here that the Rockwell hardness of this is anywhere between 45 and 60, and they target 1 1/4 inches from the cutting edge when they go to temper the bit, okay? And it also says too that the pole and eye walls are not hardened and remain in the as forged condition. When it comes to you, it says that it comes with a coat of boiled linseed oil over the head. It also talks about the 28-inch curved American hickory handle. And it says that the eye section is dried to below 10% moisture content to minimize shrinkage and to help prevent loosening. And they say that they haft it high and proud. And one thing I didn't mention before, guys, is that their handles are made in-house. Now, if you go onto their website, it says that they went back and forth from doing their own handles, to outsourcing their handles, but they have a warehouse that they do all of their hickory handles in. So they produce and manufacture their own hickory handles. Talk about how the interior of the eye is tapered and allows for a strong mechanical bond, and that a 1/4 inch of overall length of the handle is removed during assembly, which is pretty normal, guys. Whenever you're hafting axes, you lose some of that length. Maybe I didn't check the right website, okay, but the websites I did check, including Council Tools website, does not have specs on this axe. Other than it has a 28-inch handle and how much it weighs, that's it. But that's okay, I got you covered, because now we're going to get into what the actual specs are of the axe and what I think about it. So let's start with the length of the handle. Length of the handle is coming in at 27.5. 27.5 inches, so we're about a 1/2 inch short from what they claim on their website. The head length from the pole to the bit, 6 1/4. I got 6 1/4 from the pole to the bit, and the bit length itself, it's coming in at 4 inches. I got a 4-inch bit on here, and of course we're going to weigh it. And the whole thing is coming in at 3 pounds and 5 ounces. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of just go over this visually here now and give you my opinion on what I think about it. Okay, like always, I like to start with the handle first. So we'll look at the handle here. The handle does look pretty nice. We do have a little bit of grain run out, okay, but it's not too bad. And down here at the bottom, we do have vertical grain. If you guys can see that, we have vertical grain on the knob, which is really nice. It does feel really good in the hand, and I will say that it is nicely thinned, so I won't have to do pretty much any thinning on this handle. It's exactly where I want it to be at. The handle is hafted proud over top of the axe eye here, and it does have a step wedge in it. One thing I did notice, which isn't a huge deal, guys, if you can see this or not, see right up here at the top, we do have a little bit of a crack going on, but like I say before, I'm not really too worried about that, but it is present and it is folding over the axe eye, but not bad, guys. I can deal with that. I think it's going to be okay. The handle is seated nicely on top. There is no gaps, no spaces. They ran the wedge from the back to the front all the way. Looks good. And underneath we have the same. There is no space down there. It is seated nicely all the way up in there. No gaps, no spaces, no nothing. So let's check the straightness of the head on the handle and see how it's hafted. Okay, I can already tell just from looking at it down here that it does have a slight kick like this. Okay, so it'd be, looking at the camera, it's a little like this. It's not bad at all. It's manageable. I can deal with it, but it is slightly kicked a little like this. Okay. And from what it looks like, it's the forging. It's not the hafting. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not bad at all. I can deal with it. Overall, it's straight on the handle. It's just a little kick, but not too bad, guys. Not too bad at all. I can handle that. As far as the head goes, you do have a nice sized pole on the back. You can feel that all of the weight is literally in the pole. It really is. All right, guys. So getting into the head of this axe, it does have a nice pole on the back. It's nice and even. It's ground even, so you can really do some whacking with it if you needed to. It's not all wonky, but it doesn't say anything online about this thing being hardened, so I wouldn't use it to strike things that are too hard. The head looks really nice. I do like that Dayton pattern. And the weight on the axe, as you can see how big, guys, this pole is. I mean, all the weight is literally from here back, especially right in this area, okay? And as you can feel it in your hand, all the weight is literally in the pole. It's not dipping over or anything. It's holding steady here. If I go up farther up where the axe head is, it's going to tip that way. So all the weight is literally in the back, from about here back, okay? The bit, it's okay. I wouldn't necessarily use this out of the box like this. You would have to sharpen it. Is it dull as a spoon? No, but guys, see that? I'm not even cutting my hand. So I mean, it's pretty dull, but I will say this. Okay, it does have a nice grind to start with it. Okay, so they've ground it down to where you could literally take a file or a whetstone out and you could literally give this thing an edge in very little time, because they've already done the groundwork to profile it for you nicely, but it's not sharp very much at all. So first impressions, pros and cons. Let's go over the pros first. The pro, this thing is weighted really nice, okay? I do feel like that the profile on the bit could be used to do some splitting work, although I don't know if I would use it for splitting. If I had to, I would. It's more of a chopping profile, okay? Universal. Now, guys, I want to go over something real quick. When I say universal, what I mean by universal edge or universal profile is that it looks like a type of profile that you could cut and do some splitting work with it, okay? So that's what I mean by universal. Also, when I talk about the bit and I say universal, a lot of manufacturers, Council Tool doesn't seem to do this, but there are a lot of manufacturers that put what I like to call a universal bit on their axe, which is basically when you look down at the bit profile, you know, you have different degree bits, okay? And if I'm not going to get into all that, if you guys are interested in that, I would go over to Skill Cult. He does a really good job of describing the different degrees on bits, and there's plenty of other people out there that do that too. But a lot of companies give you what's called a universal bit, where the bit, you know, where the cheeks kind of taper, and then when it gets to the bit, it's a hard slant like this, okay? And the reason why they do that is because it's supposed to give you a more durable edge. It's not the best edge, and it's not very good for, I don't think, in my experience and in my opinion, it's not a good edge. But they do that so the edge doesn't roll over, so most people can take it out of the box and chop with it or split with it. This one right here doesn't have that. It does have a nice tapering bit profile, which is, I like Council Tools bit profiles. Even though it's not sharp, they do a good job profiling that bit for you. It does feel good in the hand, okay? It does feel good, and I feel like this thing would hit with force. This is designed almost the same, in my opinion, as the Council Tool Camp Axe that I did a review on, a throw-in review on, where I said all the weight was in the back, and it was really good for single rotations. This is going to be the same thing. I'll probably be able to throw this for double rotations, but I think it's going to be a single rotations where this thing's going to be best at, just because of all the weight in the back. Guys, when you're throwing felon axes, okay, it's no different than throwing an axe single-handed. If you have a ton of weight in the back and you go to throw it, you're still going to get that wobble with distance, okay? But I will say that when you have a lot of weight in the back and the axe hits the target, it's going to hit with force. You have all that weight driving the bit forward. So I think this is going to do really well. Just my first impressions, I think this is going to hit really hard and do really well at single rotations. I will throw it for double rotations, but I'm going to guess that it's probably going to be best at single. But we'll throw it and find out. It's hafted on the axe very nicely. It's splayed on top. It's hafted proud. It's seated on the axe nicely, and it does have a nice handle with vertical grain. So all in all, not bad, guys, not bad. Cons. Okay, I would have liked this thing to have been sat down a little bit farther down on the shoulder. I don't think it's going to be a big issue, but I would have liked to have been down maybe like quarter to a half inch, maybe about right in here, but that's okay. We'll throw it and see how it holds up. I really haven't had too many issues with Council Tools heads coming loose on their handles, so I don't think it'll be an issue, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm not crazy about this up here. I don't think it's going to be a problem, but it's not so much more of a crack as it's almost a blowout. This corner right here is almost completely blown out. So here's the deal. If I was to take this and I was to chop with it, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. But when you're throwing axes, if you hit this eye onto the target, this blowout right here is going to chip off and break off, okay? So I'm going to keep an eye on it, but that's one thing I did notice. And like I said before, the forging is just a tad off. I would have liked to have been straight, of course. Everybody wants their axes to be straight, but it's not a huge deal. I can work with it. I will tell you guys this. It's a personal preference of mine. I don't really care for teardrop shaped handles, okay? Council Tool makes a teardrop shaped handle on a lot of their axes. Flying Fox, for example, has the same handle this does. And what I mean by that is on the back it is oval shaped, okay? But as it comes to the front where you're going to grab it at, it comes to a point, okay? So it's a teardrop shape. I personally don't care for those type of handles. I'd rather have an oval shaped handle like the Helco handles. Those are great handles. Is it going to affect how you would use this as a chopper? No, of course not. Is it going to affect how it's thrown? It can, because that teardrop shape, it almost gives space, okay? When you grab the axe and you go to throw it, you guys can't really see this or not. When I have an oval shape and I go to grab an oval shape, my hand, there's no space in between my hand and the axe handle. It's all filled. But with a teardrop, if you guys can see this or not, see how I have space in between my hand at the top where where the handle comes to a teardrop? I have space in between my hand here and here, okay? And I don't want a ton of space when I'm throwing an axe. I want to be able to grip it and have the entire handle in my hand. In order for me to grip this and get this thing all the way around my hand, I have to grip it really hard, and you don't want a super hard grip when you're throwing axes. Something I noticed, it's a personal preference of mine. I don't care for teardrop handles, but doesn't mean I can't throw it. Just something I noticed and something I wanted to share. That wraps up the Council Tool Boys Axe, guys. All in all, it looks really good. It looks like it's going to be a great flyer. I can feel that weight in the back, and I feel like it's going to hit hard. If you're new to the channel, come back for part 2. I always make a part 1 and a part 2. In the part 2, I actually go outside and throw this axe. So come back for part 2, go outside, throw this thing. If there's any modifications that need to be done to it, I'll decide that when I go to throw it, and then I'll make those modifications on camera. But next video, you'll see me throwing this axe. Finally, guys, the felon axe. And we'll make modifications if we have to. But until next time, guys, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. Come back and watch me throw this thing. It's going to be fun. I haven't thrown very many felon axes since I've been on YouTube, so we're going to get into it. But until next time, guys, see ya.